$8,376 a month. That is what an officer, a captain with 10 years in, earns in 2026. An enlisted sergeant first class next to him, same 10 years, earns $4,759. Same uniform, same deployments, almost double the basic pay. And here is the part nobody tells the 18-year-old at the recruiter's desk. That gap does not stop at the paycheck. It follows you for the rest of your life, decades after you take the uniform off.
Basic pay is just grade times years in service off a published table. This is Elena. Enlisted ranks run E1 up to E9, and officer ranks run O1 up to O10.
Let me put that side by side so you can see the gap, not just hear it. An enlisted E6 at 10 years draws $4,760 a month.
Hi all, I'm Emma, and the officer bar towers over it. An O3 captain at 10 years draws $8,376 a month. The officer bar is nearly double.
And it starts that wide on day one. An E1 starts at $2,407 a month, while an O1 starts at $4,150. The officer opens almost $2,000 ahead before anyone has done a thing.
Fenrir here, and I want to push on that before anyone gets starry-eyed. Higher pay rides on bigger responsibility, not on being worth more as a person. Pay tracks the grade, and the grade tracks the weight you carry.
Which is exactly why pay alone is the wrong way to choose. The bigger number comes attached to a bigger weight, and that weight is not for everyone.
Before we go further, a real question we get under every one of these videos. Emma, you saw the one that keeps coming up. Read it out.
Yes, and it is the honest one. Someone asked, if officers make almost double, why would anyone choose to stay enlisted? That is the question this whole episode is built to answer.
Hold that question because the answer runs all the way to retirement. First the 2 front doors, then the work itself, and then the part nobody warns you about, what 20 years quietly does to your pension.
The fastest way to understand the 2 paths is to look at the front door, because the requirements are not even close.
Think of it as 2 separate doors into the same building. One door asks you for a diploma and a test score. The other door asks you for a college degree first. Let me walk both.
Door 1 is enlisting. You need a high school diploma or an equivalent, and you take the ASVAB, the military aptitude test.
And here is where people get the number wrong. For the Army, a high school graduate needs a minimum AFQT score of 31 to enlist. That is the floor, not the goal.
Door 2 is commissioning as an officer. The hard requirement is a 4-year bachelor's degree from an accredited school. No degree, no commission, full stop.
Watch the trap on the enlisted side, though.
Go on, what trap? The diploma versus the equivalency, you mean?
That is the one. If you come in on a GED instead of a real diploma, the Army's score bar can jump to 50. The diploma genuinely matters.
Side by side, the enlist door asks for 3 things: a diploma, a test score of 31, and a start age of 18. The officer door asks for one big thing, a bachelor's degree, and without it there is no commission at all.
But notice the quiet advantage hiding in door 1. You do not need a degree to start serving and getting paid. You can walk in at 18, no tuition, no student loans, earning from week 1. Before we keep going, one small favor that actually moves the needle. If this is landing for you, tap like, then subscribe and turn on the bell so you do not miss the rest. 2 taps, completely free, and it pushes this in front of more people who need it. Let us put the real fork on the table. Almost double the pay is sitting on the officer side, so the obvious question is whether officer is simply the better deal. Elena thinks the hands-on enlisted path wins for a lot of people, and Fenrir says the money and the leadership reach make officer the smarter bet. I am going to referee, and we settle this with what the work actually is.
Start with the obvious. The officer plans, leads, and is held accountable for the mission and for the people. You carry legal responsibility, you sign for millions in equipment, and the pay table rewards exactly that weight, over a career that is tens of thousands of dollars more, every single year.
And here is what that pay buys that nobody mentions, which is distance from the work. The officer is in the planning tent, while the enlisted soldier is the technical expert with hands on the actual gear, leading the team that does the thing. If the reason you joined is to do the work, the officer path moves you away from it.
Hold there, Fenrir. Before you answer the money, answer Elena's point. Does the officer give up the hands-on work?
Partly yes, and I will concede it. A brand new lieutenant leans on a seasoned sergeant precisely because that sergeant has the hands-on mastery the officer does not. The trade is real. You trade depth in the craft for breadth in leadership.
Which is why the degree requirement is not a small thing either. The officer path demands 4 years and the cost of a bachelor's degree before you commission. The enlisted path lets an 18-year-old start earning now, debt-free, learning a trade that often transfers straight to a civilian job.
Fair, but do not undersell the ceiling. Officer pay keeps climbing into the 05 and 06 range, and the pension is a percentage of that bigger base. The lifetime math favors the officer if you go the distance.
So here is the verdict, and the sources back it. Officer pays more and leads more, and across a full 20-year career, the lifetime money does favor it. But more is not the same as better for you. The today's military and DoD guidance is clear that both are full careers, not a ladder where one rung is failure. Want the degree, the leadership reach, and the bigger lifetime number? Commission. Want hands-on work fast with no degree and no debt, plus a trade that transfers? Enlist and own it, because neither one is the consolation prize.
This is where the day one pay gap turns into a lifetime gap, and most people never see it coming.
Stay 20 years and you unlock a pension, a check the day you retire that keeps coming for the rest of your life. And the formula is the same for enlisted and officer, which is exactly why the gap compounds. Let me run a real example.
Under the blended retirement system, your pension is 2.0% times your years of service times the average of your highest 36 months of basic pay. At 20 years, that is 40% of that high 3 average.
40% of a number. So the size of the number is everything. Same percentage, very different dollars.
Let me work a real example. Picture 2 retirees at the 20-year mark, both at 40%. Take a senior enlisted high 3 near $8,000 a month and a senior officer high 3 near $11,000 a month. Run the enlisted side. 40% of $8,000 is $3,200 a month. That is a genuinely strong pension for life.
Now the officer, 40% of $11,000 is $4,400 a month. That is $1,200 more every month for 30 or 40 years of retirement.
$1,200 a month is over $14,000 a year. For life. The same 40% on a bigger base is where the officer path really pulls ahead.
One honest correction so nobody plans on the wrong plan. If you joined after January 2018, you are on the blended system at 2% a year. The older legacy plan paid 2.5%, which was 50% at 20 years, but most people serving today are not on it.
And one more honest note. 20 years is a long bet. Most people who join never reach it, so the pension is a reason to consider the officer math, never the only reason to choose the path.
Which raises the obvious follow-up, and it is the one that trips everybody up.
It does. Fenrir has been quiet, and I know he has been chewing on this one. Go ahead and ask it.
Right, here it is. Does the 40% get calculated on my whole paycheck, the housing allowance and the bonuses too, or only on basic pay?
Only basic pay. The pension formula uses your basic pay high 3, not your housing allowance and not your bonuses. That is precisely why grade and time in service decide your retirement.
Here is the part that changes the whole decision. Picking enlisted today does not lock the officer door forever. The bridge between them is real and people cross it every year.
So if you start enlisted to learn the trade and earn debt-free, you keep the option open. The military will even help you finish the degree you need to cross over.
There are 5 well-worn routes. The first is officer candidate school. or OCS. If you already hold a bachelor's degree, it is a short, intense program that turns you into a commissioned officer.
Route 2 is ROTC, where you earn the commission while you are still in college, often with a scholarship attached. Be honest about that scholarship, though. It is paid for with a service obligation, years you owe back after you commission.
Route 3 is the service academies. Let me show you what that actually looks like.
This is West Point, the United States Military Academy on the Hudson. A fully funded 4-year education, and you walk out as a commissioned officer on graduation day.
Route 4 is the one built for people already serving. It is called Green to Gold, and it lets an enlisted soldier step away to finish a bachelor's degree and come back as an officer.
And Route 5 is the direct commission. For specialists the military needs now. Doctors, lawyers, chaplains, and cyber experts can be commissioned directly on the strength of their profession.
So the real takeaway is not which door is better. It is that the wall between the doors has 5 gates in it, and you can walk through one whenever you are ready.
Forget the rivalry, remember this one thing. Enlisted and officer are 2 honest ways to serve, and the bridge between them is open both directions. Let us bring it home. Officers earn more and lead more. Enlisted get hands-on sooner with no degree and no debt, and the same 40% pension on a bigger base is what makes the lifetime gap real.
Here is what you keep from today. You now know the gap is not just a paycheck, it is a pension for life, and that one fact will steer your choice better than any recruiter ever will.
And send this to anyone weighing the choice right now, before they sign, not after.
Next time we pull apart the officer side, and one route commissions you faster than the rest. We will name it, and why most people still pick the slow one.
If this made the choice clearer, hit like and subscribe so the next person deciding finds it too. We build this military series for you. Here is my question. Are you leaning enlisted to get hands-on fast, or officer for the lead and the bigger pension? Tell us in the comments. Now take what you learned and go make it count. This is Professor Erica signing off.